Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome back to our channel once again. Allow me to begin this video by asking you guys a very simple question. What is the end game of the Gen Z's protest? That is the question which most Kenyans are currently asking. Because initially, the demand was for the withdrawal of the finance bill. As a matter of fact, William Ruto bowed to pressure and the finance bill was withdrawn. Right now, the call is about Ruto must go, which begs the question, can the Gen Zs force William Ruto to vacate office? And assuming they manage to force Ruto out of office, who will take over? Is it Rigathi Gachagua or is it going to be none other than the Speaker of the National Assembly, Moses Maseka Wetangula? Or are they going to hand it over to the army? Those are the questions which we should be asking ourselves. But the truth of the matter is that the Gen Zs have actually organized or staged very successful demonstrations. On Tuesday last week, they managed to occupy parliament. When they started the call of occupying parliament, very few Kenyans believed that they could achieve that feat. As a matter of fact, even Kenya Kwanza government were laughing at them. They occupied parliament. And after that, William Ruto addressed the nation and William Ruto issued threats. The next day again, William Ruto addressed the nation and even announced the deployment of the military. But the Gen Zs also promised William Ruto that tukutane again on Thursday. To be honest, personally, I thought that last Thursday these guys were not going to stage a successful protest. To my shock, it was even more successful than the one on last Tuesday. So when they announced the one for Tuesday, which was today, I thought maybe because of fatigue, these guys were not going to turn up. As a matter of fact, they succeeded in shutting down the entire country. In Kisumu, no shop. In Eldoret, no shop. You'd only meet the police, the people standing by the roadside. In Nairobi, no business. In Kisii, no business. In Nyeri, no business. In Nakuru, no business. In Makwiny, no business. The entire country came to a standstill. That again was a huge success. But something happened today, if you are keen and if you followed those demonstrations. Goons hijacked the demonstrations. And the question is, who procured the goons to take control of Gen Z's protest? And what were the objectives of infiltrating a successful protest? What were the objectives? But I don't want to get into those details for now. For now, I want to reveal to you guys the tactics which Kenya Kwanza have been employing on the Gen Zs, but have all failed, and why they have actually failed. But before you do that, for those who are watching this channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click that subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support. Because without that support, this channel cannot be where it is. Ladies and gentlemen, and without any further ado, allow me to dive in. But again, before I dive in, allow me to take this opportunity to thank the following people. You are seeing their names on the screen there for the coffee they sent to me earlier today, because it goes a long way in supporting the channel. You can also do the same using the numbers you are seeing on your screen. Ladies and gentlemen, let us dive in. First of all, why do you think the Gen Z's protests are very successful? Because they've been successful. Why do you think they've been successful? And by the way, if you watched the demonstrations today, you'll be sad. Let me just play for you this short clip of the events in Nakuru, which were just peaceful. Again, let me play for you this clip of Gen Zs in Mombasa. Very successful. They were even accompanied by the police. In Kisumu here, the demonstrations were actually successful. And even in Nairobi, the demonstrations were very successful until someone somewhere procured these goons you are seeing here. These goons here, they were actually procured. Their faces are known. Who procured them? But the worst part was seeing this lady here, a medic, pleading with the police, and the way the police were responding to her.
Niko na wagonjwa watu wa gunshots karibu 10 na askari wenzenu.
Enda ndio tutaua wengine wengi. Enda chukua wengine. Sawa. Unatoka kutoka.
Ati utaua wengine wengi.
Okoa ila amepigwa.
Na si ndio nafanya wananirushia tear gas na madaktari nitawatibu aje na ni wenzenu. Aje. Na nilipuli hadi anesthesia ikilipukia watu nitafanya nini na mnatibiwa pia nyinyi. Na sibagui. Sad, just bad.
But before I get into the tactics which the police used but failed, first of all, why do you think the Gen Zs staged very successful demonstrations? Number one, the Gen Zs have nothing to lose. These guys, they have nothing to lose. Some of these guys are graduates. They graduated long time ago. They don't have any job. The jobs which are available, for example, the TSC letters were being dished out in funeral somewhere. But some of them have applied to be absorbed for long without any success. Some of them are students, still students, who are watching the life, how the life is taking their older kids, siblings. Like you have 3 brothers and sisters ahead of you, all graduates, but they have nothing to do. So which means these guys, they don't have anything to lose, and therefore probably they've lost hope in life. Dealing with them becomes a very big challenge, and that's why you tell them, you threaten them, they still come out. Today they even brought coffins to the streets. Number 2, these guys are advanced in technology. These guys, for the first time, have even invented some toothpaste that if you just put toothpaste here, then it reduces the effect of tear gas. So most of the demonstrators had that. Even the lady medic, if you watch her closely, she had that toothpaste. These guys are too innovative. Look at what this lady here was trying to do, becoming very innovative. And that makes them ahead of the police. Number 3, the demos were also very successful because in most cases, these guys were just armed with a bottle, a phone, and a flag. So if they had a phone, they had a flag. If they didn't have a flag, they had a phone and they had a bottle of water. So which means even the police feared attacking them. I've watched where William Ruto was saying that those who invaded parliament were not Gen Zs. The truth is those who invaded parliament were Gen Zs. That's why all the people who died there are all Gen Zs. So those are the truth of the matter. They are advanced. They are able to really just even know police anafanya hii. They are able to capture all the details. And of course, something which I think I've also mentioned, they also know a lot of do it yourself. I think they've consumed a lot of YouTube. They can make this, they can make that, they can make that. They're very innovative. And that has made their demonstration so successful. But William Ruto, for me, has failed to contain these demonstrations as the president of the Republic of Kenya because of the tactics which he is using. Number 1 is brute force. When you apply extreme use of force, like today on the demonstrators, what do you think happened? These guys come more prepared. Like, for example, on a Tuesday, what happened on Tuesday when the police really decided to deal with them ruthlessly outside Parliament or inside Parliament? On Thursday, they turned up in large numbers because of the brute force. So it has not worked. The use of force in quelling protest is an old technique. It was used in those centuries. That's why the water cannons could not work. Today, I'm not even sure whether they were on the streets. They could not work because these Gen Zs have realized how to deal with them. So if I were Ruto, I would not apply force on these demonstrators. You let them just mess. Then the people themselves will rebel. But when you apply force, then we end up with a situation where even their parents are praying for them the way this parent was praying for the kid or the child before heading for the demonstration. That is the truth of the matter. So the use of force is what has failed Kenya Kwanza government. Number two, the intimidation tactics. In Kenya, there's always this belief that tear gas ndio utamu wa maandamano. So the moment Kenyans realized that these guys were bringing on KDF, what came to their mind? Simple. Only one thing came to their mind: that the police are subdued, that the police cannot contain them. But again, KDF came, and KDF were protecting Kenyans. So I don't know how William Ruto managed that, the thought of seeing the KDF blending easily with the protesters. So which means the objective of threatening or intimidating the protesters using the KDF did not really succeed. So that's the truth. So intimidation is also an old tactics. It cannot work. Number three, arrest and abductions. This one, you see, after Tuesday, the government tried the abduction and the arrest to avert the Thursday demonstration last week. That one did not work because they thought that by arresting Ogoda, by arresting Nani, by arresting these big wigs on Twitter, by targeting specific people, they were going to scare people. They failed because, of course, I know they were trying to get certain information. The other things they were trying to figure out, which they failed to get. So the Gen Zs realized, okay, how many people can they arrest? So they devised a new strategy. Instead of the big wigs on Twitter from Kenya hosting the spaces, then they got Gen Zs from outside the country hosting. So which means there's nothing they could do. So the abductions and arrest actually failed. Of course, these Gen Zs, they also don't fear arrest. These are guys who are arrested every day in clubs. So they don't fear arrest. They're used to cells. Number four, which was applied today heavily: use of goons, procured goons.
Yaje? Sinikuhoji.
Okay.
What's your name?
My name is Immaculate.
Immaculate.
Yeah.
Why are you out with baton today?
At first, I came out of my house, coming here, knowing I'm coming to protest, like my fellow youth who are protesting. Now things have turned. Ask me why.
Why?
The goons have been sent everywhere, stealing from people, snatching people's phone, and we are here to deal with them.
Okay.
Deal with them first, then we'll continue with our protest
Okay.
later. Yeah.
All right. But you protest. You support a protest.
Yeah, I mean a peaceful protest.
Yeah.
Protestation. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it might have a bit of impact because the Gen Zs are definitely going to withdraw a bit to try and re-strategize on how to deal with the goons. But remember, these Gen Zs, they are well advanced in technology. They are better than the Kome boys when it comes to technology. So they are vigilant. So if anybody wanted to use goons to infiltrate and then project in Gen Z project as, and then project Gen Z's protest as violent, or maybe as infiltrated, because there's also this narrative of trying to drag Uhuru and Rigathi into the matter, that they're the ones behind it. It failed. It failed because everybody's able to see. For example, when you hire goons and the goons invade, or let's say these were Gen Zs protesting in Nairobi today, then they invade a supermarket. They steal in the supermarket in CBD. We all know how Nairobi was today secured. 3 good hours. 3. Nobody. 3 good hours. Just picking things from the supermarket. Do you convince anybody that those were Gen Zs? No. No. Gen Zs were being fought there. So it means someone called and asked the police, "Way, don't." The order is, let those guys do their stuff. It happens all the time. It's a strategy used. But did it succeed? I don't think. Because of these Gen Zs will start giving us more details about that. And lastly, there was also this tactic of trying to drag Uhuru, Rigathi into the mix. I'm also seeing Mike Sonko being dragged into the mix. James Gakoya being dragged into the mix. Why do you think they were trying to do that? To make it appear as a UD affair. The intention was, for example, to stop the residents of Kisumu from coming out that, oh, that's not your war. Hiyo ni vita yao. Let them fight that war. So that the demonstrations were going to be confined to certain regions, maybe Nairobi, Nyeri, Kirinyaga, blah, blah. But then, in Rift Valley, they had procured goons to stop those demonstrations. Of course, the guys had also been told, this is our government. We don't need to really fight it. Again, that failed. Why? Because the Gen Zs are leaderless, and of course, they are also triballess. I don't know what you think. What is your opinion about these demonstrations? Will they be able to achieve the objectives? Until next time, this is Makwiny. I'm coming up with another video in the next 2 hours, so please stay tuned.